Here's some fresh perspective. Feel free to take notes. I'm creating a network to bring awareness to what's corrupting humanity, some fresh perspective, random knowledge, paying knowledge forward, sermons, and more. There isn't a topic I won't report on. I share my testimony to put myself on the front line so you can be enlightened on how to access internal power. If you're an avoidant, my content won't pique your interest. You must face everything in order to rise. Let your triggers be your guide to strength. Exposing a weakness means you need to carve that into power. Stay tuned. I'll be on a screen near you soon. Just watch me work. Yes, this means I study, take apart, observe, process, and analyze every single thing. I use knowledge for learning only. My intent is to spread authenticity everywhere. Everyone believes they experience raw until I show up for real. Very serious. I remember one time I walked into a barbecue and I said, I said, I heard y'all were in need of a real hitter. Everybody thinks they're real until, like I said, raw shows up. I operate completely out of mind to psychoanalyze the mind and more, to create formulas correcting mental glitches. I study glitches and create them to reconfigure any algorithm of the mind. I work off trust only. If I can't trust you or can't count on you, then you're in my way. Thanks for anyone counting me out. You'll get to see my face everywhere in the near future. I won't be silenced until I'm in a room with big dogs negotiating my deal. I know I'm getting my deal somehow, some way. Moving on. I lived like I had to hide my triggers, so I ignored them. With time, all they did was build momentum inside. Once I allowed for all my triggers to hit the air, I can breathe easier now. I was so afraid to experience that kind of pain again, so I kept the war to myself. All it did was slowly tear me apart, where I created personas to deflect from facing reality of empathy, pain, and acting like I'm okay. I'm no longer afraid to experience pain again, so my fear is dying out. Subtle signs of healing is realizing you can't avoid grief any more than you can avoid the world. A second sign of confidence and healing is realizing people treating you poorly should make you see they are blind. Don't question your worth. No one can diminish you except you. Moving on. There's a post. Tonight's going to be about fresh perspective on posts I've come across that I've seen on a lot of different pages. It says, a man that knows of your sadness and sleeps doesn't deserve your love at all. My fresh perspective. So he is not allowed to be tired. Love is about consideration. Look at his lifestyle. Does he have time to sit up with you and have enough strength for his day too. Maybe it's easy for me to say this because I'm not codependent on others to regulate me. I wouldn't want him stressed to the max and overstimulated too. As long as he's asleep and safe next to me, I'm good. I would just need him to hold me when he can. I would need him to know there's nothing he can do sometimes, so taking care of yourself helps me worry about one less thing. I'm like a mad scientist. Some days empathy hijacks me, forcing me to see injustice, feel it. Some days I can shift it up. Other days I must feel grief. It's signs I'm still alive inside, so I handle it much better now. And I do have extra doses of empathy. But like I said, I'm navigating and learning the depths of it in myself so I can handle it. An example of, reason why this drew my attention was because it's like when you're someone like me, an example of something that, like, I'm going to be constantly fighting battles because I have so much empathy and because I just have a higher calling to feel, to be, to create. And so like I said, here's an example of something that I could see that could, all of a sudden make me sad. And like I said, if I'm having issues regulating myself, then I wouldn't want them to constantly be on that emotional roller coaster with me, because then they're going to be drained and exhausted. I would just want them to let me know that they're there for me, because there is sometimes nothing they can do. You just have to let the body process the pain out. Anyway, here's an example. Here's a post. It was a picture of animals in cages at a lab. It was a cartoon, and there's a monkey that said to the person, "Hey Einstein, how about a cure for insensitivity to other species?" And then at first I laughed because it's true. Then an intense stabbing came through, piercing through my chest, realizing the loss and message behind it. How when you look around, humans are constructing nonsense on every square inch. All the deforestation, instead of evolving into less desire, desire and human entitlement has hijacked humanity. Like I said, it got me thinking about poachers. Poachers disgust me here, because poachers are why there's zoos and sanctuaries, and poachers disgust me. Here comes the beast in me. Like I said, the beast that roars, that brings in my wild animal, that brings in the anger, and brings in all the other stuff that I haven't quite figured out yet. Like I said, I can't expect someone to drop everything every time my empathy wants to see or feel something. I have to create those self-reliance techniques. Yes, sometimes I'll be sad. Just hold me. Skin-to-skin connection is healing. Bare your chest and mine for a while. Healthy connection is healing in itself. Sitting with you in silence while you process is enough. I just don't feel being entitled to someone else's sleep without considering their life is selfish. Or I feel being entitled to someone else's sleep without considering their life is selfish. Love is an equal exchange of give while other picks up slack. Love isn't always 100% and 100% or 50-50. Sometimes it's 0 and the other person has 100. Sometimes it's 25, the other person has the 75. Sometimes it's 10, the other person has the 90. You get my drift. And it's at different times for different reasons. Love is learning for self-awareness, accountability, critical thinking skills, emotional regulation skills, and more. Love is growing and developing. Expecting someone to sit up in grief isn't being self-reliant. You should want to be you should want to be reliant on self. It's a rough reality out there. I get wanting support and love during tough times. I just hope you don't sit around waiting for someone to regulate you when you're capable. Just believe. Being self-reliant isn't always a trauma response. It's also signs you're regulating naturally. Knowing the difference is crucial to wise mind mentality. Ask yourself, why would you want someone to lose sleep over you? Knowing my loved ones are safely tucked away is support enough for me. Some days will be spent on high alert. Some days I will be spent on high alert, anticipating an attack, and it's just like an automatic thing that just happens some days. I find myself extra anxious, and I know why. Like I said, it's just something I just do, and it's like I said, I don't want my person to feel like they have to be panicking and be doing that too. They need to realize, hey, she's gonna work it out, and I'm here. Lost my place. Ask yourself, why would you want someone to lose sleep over you, for you? Knowing my loved ones are safely tucked away is support enough for me. Some days will be spent on high alert, anticipating an attack. I wouldn't want them to be in survival mode just because I am. I can see you wanting to acknowledge that. I can see you wanting them to acknowledge your feelings and offering a safe place, though. This mentality is why it's important to unpack each thought. You can create a dialogue with yourself. First step towards having an open mind. You can create a dialogue with yourself. It's the first step towards having an open mind, naturally raising awareness. Moving on. Here's another post I came across. I'm going to offer fresh perspective. Post. If I bring up an issue with you, that is not the time to bring up grievances you have with me. You had time and opportunity like me. Now isn't the time for deflection. And then here's my perspective. I feel it's healthy to address issues as they arise, however it happens. If you don't like how it comes up, dissect that. If each person gets a turn to voice concerns and be heard, what's the problem? Knowing when they use it to deflect or blame you, then I see the point. Call them out on the spot. Sometimes discussing issues can give someone courage to speak. This goes back to learning your person to love them comes into play. Accusing them without considering alternative intention is a glitch. Open yourself up to the possibility you weren't doing something open yourself up to the possibility you could have been doing something to add to the issue. Don't discuss my issues. Don't dismiss my issues, and I'll allow space for yours. Deflection is not being able to see outside your boxed mindset, so you have an external blaming tactic to take attention off them without acknowledging their part. That's what deflection is belittling and using that to dismiss their part, your part. A healthy person will realize there's a time and place for everything, yet clearing the air really is most important. Like I said, allowing space for everybody to be heard will naturally dissolve any issues that could arise. I'm not saying there won't be. I'm just saying you find yourself having issues. Just take a look and see if there's any barriers blocking communication, or are you talking over each other? Are you yelling and screaming? Are you trying to work towards a solution? Are you working together? I just think mentality like this leaves room for dismissive tendencies and giving me judgy sensations. It could be because I can feel frustration from the person who wrote this. Unpacking yourself will naturally solve a lot of issues. Like I said, so you won't have to find yourself discussing things. Like I said, that's when self-awareness, self-correction comes into play once again. Moving on. Here's another post. Stay away from people that say things like, I can cut off anybody. I'm not afraid to lose anyone. These people are unhealthy. You mean to tell me you aren't afraid to lose someone you've emotionally invested in? That I liked. That's why I said ask yourself questions. I like that. Friend or lover, these people have no concept. It could be a friend or lover. These people have no concept of authentic loyalty. They're letting you know right off the bat you're expendable. Fresh perspective. Don't limit yourself to be thinking of only one possibility. The mind really is deep and complex. It's not that easy to understand. Typically, people who say this either have boundaries they refuse to bend due to unprocessed trauma, or they've already processed the trauma and they put they're putting their boundaries up. Are you being an opening of awareness yourself to notice you're doing things, you could be doing things to make these feelings surface? It's okay to inquire with yourself about your own habits. One could argue only unhealthy people are so quick to judge instead of seeing why this person feels this way. It could mean it doesn't matter who it is. If they are toxic, they'll walk away, meaning that's when they're putting their boundaries up. We can't judge or jump to assume the intention of words. There's a lot of conclusions we can draw of others when we don't speak to them. Erase your conclusions or ask them about it. Moving on. Here's another post. You don't think getting high every day is linked to depression. I don't even mean to call people out. You're literally altering your natural state. At some point, it has to be more than at some point, it has to be more than I like getting high. At some point, you're escaping. Fresh perspective. Yes, you're correct. It is linked to depression. Weed can help people who are wired for survival mode remain emotionally regulated and allow their body to recognize what relaxing is. Be thankful you don't know what it's like to need assistance recognizing danger everywhere. Not recognizing danger everywhere. Automatically causing panic attacks. Be thankful you got to develop those strategies in a healthy environment. It's one thing to say out of genuine curiosity versus being judgmental. Be wise about assuming intent without asking first. I don't care who told you weed doesn't kill brain cells. It relaxes you, helping you focus. That's why you gotta know strands. Some are designed to relax you so you don't have to think. Temporarily. You don't have to think temporarily. It's doing its job. If you're having lasting memory loss, that's tied to central nervous system blocking you somewhere. Weed does reveal your mind to itself. That's where panic attacks while using happens. Your mind is most likely divergent or different than you've been taught to believe. Weed is spiritual work and should be used responsibly. People can use anything excessively, causing permanent damage to the nervous system. You aren't doing proper soul work if you use anything excessively. Reality alters your mind permanently. Weed does it temporarily. That's the difference. Moving on for now. I could dive into that another time. Just a random sermon of the day. I just want to shine my light. It's so bright others can see their way out of the dark. The person I am today isn't from things working out constantly in my favor. I am who I am because life went very wrong and I was blindfolded, having to figure my own way through darkness. I didn't have anyone's hand to hold. They ran at the first sign of distress. I didn't know, so I'm not mad at ones who didn't know either, just saying how my strength is so powerful. It got this way over creating healthy thoughts leading to a healthy lifestyle. The more healthy you become, the less you'll worry about what happens and when you'll naturally be... More healthy you become, the less you'll worry about what happens next and when... more healthy you become, the less you'll worry about what happens and when. You'll naturally be growing with the flow of life. Life isn't trying to break you by giving so many battles. Life is trying to help you see the importance of growing alongside and through each season. It's asking you to breathe life into who you're becoming while releasing emotions. It's asking you to cycle through each battle, allowing spirit to find you and guide you. Oh, see, here's some more notes. I already, some quick notes about getting high every day post that I just talked about. I'm defensive about weed. Yes, it's a trigger for me since it's really a natural medicine needing to be used responsibly. Old me would have jumped on them insulting intelligence by saying you're an idiot. Wise mind / healing me sought to inform on the depth of the topic instead. That's a subtle sign I'm doing the work to open my mind before my mouth when I speak. Because this is exactly what I want to do. I don't want to go around insulting people's intelligence because a lot of things is because I didn't know either. And it was just a really good, humbling post and a good realization of growth in myself. I'm going to read this last part again. Wise mind / healing me sought to inform on the depth of the topic instead of insulting intelligence. That's a subtle sign I'm doing the work to open my mind before my mouth when I speak. We need to just spread more awareness. Drugs with permanent effects are man-made products. Weed is a natural plant. Humans turn it into a synthetic drug harmful for consumption. Let's get that straight too. I started smoking at 14. I'm 36. I listen to my videos. Am I losing brain power? Am I a vegetable? Or am I someone who's using her testimony to strengthen her faith and transform her life? Listen to my words. Am I allowing my struggles to define me, making me incompetent to handle reality? Am I completely clueless to seeing anything wrong with using weed excessively? No, I provided the risks. Everything has risk, yet it's impossible for naturally grown weed to cause harmful effects. Again, everything has risk, yet it's impossible for naturally grown weed to cause harmful effects. Weed rewires to create a natural state of calming grace. So yes, it does alter you if you aren't developing the mind outside of its use, then yes, you'll lose your mind. The mind is meant to be used to its fullest capability while being deserving of rest techniques to avoid overstimulation, kick-starting survival mode. Adding chemicals to natural substances will kill brain cells, cause brain damage, mutate in DNA, etc. Chemicals are known to cause brain damage, alter DNA and genetics in the bloodline. Sprinkling chemicals all over your products before consumption is what's causing all the harmful side effects. They manage to convince us nature is dangerous. Dandelions aren't weeds. For example, dandelions aren't weeds. They're the first signs of spring and pollination. They promote heart health. Yet there is endless chemicals to spray, tainting the soil and more. You want to trust the same people who told us to kill nature with chemicals that weed is harmful? Get real. Can't be serious. Stop it. Alright, got a couple more fresh perspectives. Difficult situations do reveal who your people are. Don't be afraid to face it. It can happen. It can happen. Don't be afraid to face it. Oh, I didn't complete my sentence. Go figure. Difficult situations do reveal who your people are. Don't be afraid to face difficult situations. They can happen. Just trust your ability to handle it. Be grateful you can move forward without illusions. Validate the loss while processing the grief out. It's a natural process. Allow it to move through you. You'll feel when it releases itself from your body. Moving on. Another post that drew me in and I wanted to offer some fresh perspective on. Sometimes the greatest act of love is allowing someone to learn their own lesson. Fresh perspective. Ask them if they have capacity to process through to the lesson. Love is patient. Love is kind. Sometimes we just need presence. Sometimes we might need feedback, not insults. Asking is mutual respect. Sometimes saving the day is just what's needed to get them back on track. I can see if they never seem able to self-regulate. Talk to them about it. And then the post goes on to say, allowing someone to sit in their struggles and suffering without saving the day is what will not only teach them lessons, it will leave them with an understanding on how to apply them. I feel like it'll just teach them they can't count on you. Fresh perspective. How about reminding them of their power instead of being cold? You have to understand mind-altering events, brain development, human development, and more to realize sometimes we lack the ability to self-regulate. So that's when giving them a jolt of power is helpful. Instead of choosing to leave, simply validating their state of being and saying, hey, we all make mistakes. What we do next to repair them is what matters. You tell them to feel it, then use their power, guiding them to the lesson. Once you learn how to process, your body's going to remember that. Each time you walk yourself to a healthy ending while being triggered, your body's going to remember that. And it's going to help you process faster and faster each time. Rewiring takes complete devotion. This mentality about greatest act of love is basically leaving them in their own misery. I can see it if you're like letting them process, you know, letting them, giving them space to process. But for me, I'm not leaving. Might say it sometimes, but for me, once I love you, it's kind of stuck with that. But like I said, I just think this mentality allows for unnecessary time to be wasted when a simple positive reminder can go a long way. Like, say, hey, don't forget your power. I'm a healthy processor, so I'm here if you get stuck. I know you can figure this out. I love you and I'm here. That will make them want to figure it out moving forward, feeling empowered. I just don't believe in leaving a person behind without knowing they have tools to move forward. My first response is to run to the issue for correction or solutions. Moving on. Overthinking is an issue for me, so here's just some fresh perspective on that. Overthinking is a signal you aren't regulating. This is where creating an internal dialogue with self comes in handy. Ask yourself, where is this panic coming from? See what happens. If nothing happens, yet you're still overthinking, change your environment, take your shoes off, change your clothes, breathe, take a shower, see if your thinking slows down. I saw a post that said, lack of communication allows room for imagination. Overthinking doesn't entitle you to be able to jump to conclusions. You can't put that responsibility on other people. You must teach yourself you can't control communication. However, excuse me. However, you can work through your triggers so you aren't codependent on others to think for you. Allowing life to flow through you will help dissolve unhealthy, intrusive thoughts. Overthinking causes panic. It is a sign you can't self-regulate. Build your skills. Obviously, when you're in a different mindset, not in the middle of it. Like I said, it's all a natural process. The work you do will illuminate in those times of distress. It's working on, that's why I said it's try to document that as much as possible so you can unpack that later when you're in a different state of mind, in a grounded state of mind. Or watch my videos. I'm here for you. Watch my videos over and over. When outside noise gets louder than the inside, it's up to us to fight the emotions or steer along the waves of them, allowing it to flow through you. Talking to yourself like someone you love is how you avoid a lot of glitches in a connection. You know why? You'll naturally output that energy, illuminating a safe place. And that's all I've got for tonight. And like I said, just here to offer some fresh perspective, some wisdom. We're going to get through all of this together and bring in awareness to the depths of love and how I'm going to leave it there. Until next time, I'm out.